Oh,
time,
God.
Debbie.
Okay. Oh, we are live. We're live.
We are live. We are live.
Morning to 10 at
I wish
10.
good morning. Good morning, everyone. Yes. I wish we'd have gone live 30 seconds ago, and I'm just going to relay the conversation that we've just had. So I was just looking, thinking, oh, I look a little bit tired. And then Debbie's like, well, you're getting old now, aren't you? That's it. Like, oh, thanks, Debbie. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Great to see you here. Thanks for joining us. And if you're watching the replay, today we're talking about money. Money.
We should have some cash, but I don't have any cash in my wallet anymore. It's just cards, isn't it? Who has money these days?
I don't remember the last time. I thought I found some money in there the other day, but it was just a receipt. So, yeah, don't have any.
Don't have any. I found 5p in the sofa when I was hoovering. So, big spender there. 5p in the back of the sofa. But yeah, we're not talking about small bits of money, are we? We want to talk about big bits of money today and running a business and all the things that brings. So you've got our list of points, haven't you, Bertie?
Yeah, I have. So I think with money, it's always a contentious point, isn't it? Like, it's one of those things that makes us feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I feel uncomfortable talking about money, and it doesn't matter whether you've got it or you haven't got it, whether you're asking for it. It's always a very uncomfortable point, and I think that's what we wanted to delve in today and actually get some questions from the people that are watching. So hello, everyone that's joining us today.
Hello,
and actually, figure out, like, why does it make us so uncomfortable? Like, what is the reasons behind it?
It feels a bit crass, doesn't it, talking about money? And I think we're brought up to not talk about money. And I remember, like, when I worked in business, it was like you weren't allowed to ask people how much money they earn. You weren't allowed to ask your contemporaries. It was almost like, no, that's like not done. You can't ask people because weren't allowed to compare. Now we know that there's a massive gender pay gap and everybody needs to be much more transparent with money. But I think those type of things make us feel uncomfortable, working in business. And also, kind of growing up, you're told, like, money doesn't grow on trees and rich people are evil and don't talk about money. And we grow up with all these beliefs that our parents and our culture gives on us that makes us think that money is bad somehow. Having money is bad. If you get money, it will be bad. Just stay in your place. Don't want anything else. Like, it's almost like selfish to want to grow and expand. It's like, be grateful for what you've got. And I think that if you've grown up in that environment, then suddenly running a business and having to ask for money and talk about money just feels really uncomfortable.
And I think you've just raised some really good points there. I think, growing up as well, I think you have those limiting beliefs that actually, like, you can't earn past your station. Like, you have to go to school, and then you'll go into a job. And I think, like, the entrepreneur kind of lifestyle, which obviously we are, and probably a lot of people that are watching, you've really got to start to manually unpick those beliefs. And actually, like, there are literally no limits to what you can earn. Like, there are no limits. But that then begs the question, actually, why are you chasing that money? And, is it just because you want financial freedom and pay off your mortgage and all that other stuff? Or are you thinking that this big number, what was that program we were just talking about before we went live?
Selling Sunset, the Netflix special.
Are you actually thinking that, like, that big number is going to solve your problems and you're going to live there and then that's going to equal happiness? Because actually, you watch a program like that and you realize that those people have probably got more or the same or more problems than what you have when you've got no money either. So it doesn't buy happiness, does it? And it
doesn't buy happiness. I want to kind of share a bit of a recent study as well from the Purdue University in 2008. And these kind of studies have been going around for ages. Really, it's this idea of, like, how much money does make us happy. And so they found that the ideal point for individuals for life satisfaction is around 95k. But if you're between 60 and 75k, then you're happy, you've got emotional well-being. And actually, people that go past 105, their happiness starts decreasing. Like at that point, if you get past the 6 figures, you're actually less happy than you were before. And some of the stuff we were talking about last week is this, like all the ads on Facebook that are like earn 6 and 7 figures. Well, the science says if you get past the 6-figure mark, you're actually less happy. So if you're wanting to earn money for happiness, then it's worthwhile having a think about that and maybe defining what success looks like for you and finding your own benchmark of where you want to get to.
Yeah, this is exactly what we were talking about last week, wasn't it? As in, doing things because you want to do them and focusing on the right stuff, not focusing on the money, which is always a result. It's interesting when you say about like when you earn more money, you can actually become more unhappy. I remember having a conversation with one of my friends years ago about like his dad, who had always been a worrier, but then when he used to work, like obviously he used to worry about work and things like that. But then as soon as he was retired, he'd worry about not having any milk in the fridge. And like, I think your brain probably has a capacity for a certain amount of stress or worry in your life. And if it's not money worries, if you were to suddenly take that away, unless you've done the work on yourself, then you're probably just going to replace those worries with something else. Something else will make you unhappy.
Yeah.
So, like now, if you're stressing about your bills and things like that, it's like, it's not that silver bullet. Money's going to fix all of my problems. Actually, it's just going to be replaced.
Well, and really, if we look at like average people's bills, if you kind of earn like 20K, you're probably paying your bills, 20 to 30K, you've probably got your mortgage covered, which is kind of the main thing. So there's Siobhan saying she'd be happy with low figures right now. And what we said last week is that most freelancers are around 18, 19K anyway. But it's relative, isn't it? And we were having this discussion just before we came live about, if you've got a yacht and then you start hanging around with people with yachts and then you're like, shit, damn, look how big that guy's yacht is. My yacht's tiny compared to his yacht. And then you start worrying about how you can get a bigger and a bigger and a bigger yacht. And so you'll never have enough money, because unless you're going to be Jeff Bezos, there's always going to be somebody richer than you. There's always going to be somebody who's got fancier shoes. There's always going to be somebody who's got a better car and a better house. And I think being able to define what success looks like for you, and then just go, if I had 50K a year, I could pay my bills, I could put a bit into the pension, I could go on holiday, I'm happy with that. You're going to feel happier, aren't you? Then each time you get above, then you just keep going like this and keep inching up and keep inching up. We buy new things, but instantly we're bored with them, aren't we? We buy a new car and maybe for a week we're like, I've got a new car. And then it's like, oh, it's just a car. Like that excitement and happiness for things.
Jesus. Yeah. So those things, they're just, there's a big difference between pleasure and happiness. Then I'm not sure whether this is where I was talking about this recently, but whether we spoke about it last week or not. But yeah, I think when you can do things for pleasure, but actually they don't make you happy. And I think sometimes those things can get confused, right? And I think money is probably one of those things, like earning money, like gives you that pleasure, but does it actually make you happy? I think that being said, what money does do is, it can take away those worries and it can give you an element of freedom, especially if like you're starting a new business and things like that. Then, like when I'm always really open about when I launched Fill My Belly and like being so fucking broke, like completely broke, like had to sell my car, that first, and just moved money from credit cards, that is a really hard situation to be in. Launching businesses, not being in that situation is different, but you have a new set of worries and you have a new set of problems that you have to overcome. So money it's just literally one element of your life. So I think that point that you made earlier, like, figure out what you want to do, how much you need to earn to pay your bills, to feed your cat or whatever, and then that's your target. And if you get over and above that, great. And if you don't miss that, then just don't let it stress you out too much.
Yeah.
Easier said than done sometimes, because money adds so much pressure, doesn't it? Like if you haven't got bills to pay, so if you've got bills to pay, things like that, it compounds. The thought of losing houses, cars, and things, of course.
Yeah, it is. And there is a lot of people like that now with the COVID, having lost their jobs and maybe their businesses are failing, and that pressure of having to pay your bills is massive. So Steve Clark, who happens to be my dad, hi dad, has just said, if I hadn't seen such riches, I could live with being poor. I'm not sure what he means. But What do you
I mean,
mean, Dad?
it's a quote, isn't it? It's like, yeah, if
Oh,
if you
right.
hadn't experienced the other end of the scale, then actually, you could live with being poor. I get it. Your dad is so cool. Look at him.
That's
Look
him
at
in
him.
a punk band. He runs a punk. He's a punk radio guy. He runs a punk radio show, and that's him as a punk.
Nice to meet you, Steve.
Hi, Dad. Like, I think with my dad as well, like thinking about him, he got a big payout and got made redundant, and he's kind of spent it all, and he's much happier now. It's all gone, and he's just living his life, doing what he wants to live like. He doesn't worry if he's got money coming in. As long as he can pay the basic stuff, he's having a really happy time, and he's almost got this freedom of just letting go. All that collateral and that stuff that you feel like makes you happy, you don't need it. You've just got to kind of get on with life. So what's Joe saying? I have heard of a person who had a small aeroplane and then worried about getting a bigger plane to fit more friends and family and to please others. Chasing the dream. Also, there are tons of millionaires out there with their depression and anxiety. Yeah, exactly. Mental health can hit anybody. That's so true. And we've got another quote from Hannah. Businesses should feel more free to talk about money, as the more you keep on top of the better choices you make. Absolutely, Hannah. Like, one of the things I do with my clients is get them to map out how much money's coming in, how much money's going out, what's your profit, what are you going to put aside for taxes. The more that you dig into that money and the more you understand it, even if those figures are not making you happy, like what you concentrate on expands. There's some kind of saying like that, isn't there? And I think as business owners, we have to be paying attention to the money. You can't ignore it, even if it doesn't feel comfortable and you're not having that great a time, when you look at those figures. So create an Excel business dashboard, fit those numbers in, pay attention to it. I think the other thing that I want to say, and I know that we're going out of time, is that it's okay to ask for money. Like, I work with people sometimes and they're like, I love what I do. It comes so naturally. It's not difficult for me. I have these talents and I feel guilty about charging for them because it's not hard work and I love it and it comes easily. But just because it's not hard work for you, you're still making an impact on other people. There's still value in what you're doing and what you're offering. So you don't feel bad about charging for your services. In my experience, when you give things away for free, people don't value it as much and they don't take action. Like they don't do the stuff that you've asked them to do. And when you have a transaction that's financial, people value that more and they pay more attention and they do the work to get where you're going, especially if you're coaching. If you're coaching somebody and they don't have to pay for it, if they don't do what you've suggested to them and they don't move forward, it doesn't really matter because they've not paid for it. So it's really okay to charge and charge a good price, So Helen said, you're serving your clients. Exactly. And think about what you offer, because if you look around at what everybody else is charging, some people are charging 10p and some people are charging £1 million. Like literally, it's that vast. So find the figure that you feel comfortable with. That's good for your business. Next time we could talk about raising your prices. Like, how do you raise your prices, or how do you find the price that works for you? So maybe that would be a good thing to talk about next week. I know that we've gone over, but money's so juicy, isn't it? Oh.
No, and I had about 5 points, and we've only covered one of them down here. So that's, maybe someone said last week, someone commented 10 minutes isn't enough.
Should we do money too? We're in lockdown too. So maybe next week we do money too, like we'll straight video.
Yes, okay. We're going to talk more about money. There's more to be said. But if these videos go over 10 minutes, Debbie can't post them to LinkedIn. So you've got 3 minutes to edit out of this. We're well over today.
I might just share it this day. I might just share it because there's so much juicy, lovely content in there. I want people to be able to get it. One final comment there from Siobhan is true. I want to feel like I'm getting my money's worth. And that doesn't happen if it's free. Yeah, also, if we're not paying for things, we don't feel like there's any value in it, do we? And what's this? A private LinkedIn user. The comment around free incentives is very true. We've found it's harder to onboard clients when it's free. That's a really good point. Yeah, because people think, what's the value in it? Why am I signing up for this thing if it's free? So true.
Free has no value, and there's always a catch then in someone's head. If you see something free, it's like, well, hang on a minute, the catch. So yeah, you really, when you're pricing things and positioning things, free isn't necessarily good, and it isn't necessarily a good way to do things. So yeah, some loads of juicy stuff today. Yeah, we're gonna have to continue next week.
Next week, 10 o'clock for maybe more than 10 minutes, talking about money too. All right.
Money too.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And thank you for everyone watching on the replay. And we'll see you again next week, 10 o'clock. See you there.
Bye.
Bye-bye.